Oh, I don't think that one would work. Welcome back to I'm a Spider, so what? And obviously we all have the many voices in our heads. I'm not sure we're able to hold such a grounded conversation as though our little spider here. But it would be quite nice to be able to section off different tasks to each one. You're in charge of mathematics, you're in charge of magic, and you're in charge of making sure I get an actual good night's sleep. The most difficult of all of them. But when we left off, various plot things were in play. The hero has died, the demon lord has stepped forward, and our spider has tried to challenge her greatest foe. But when your only way to salvation and freedom is through some pretty tough enemies, your only recourse is to fight. So, let's see the battle. After seeing how easily Araba, the Earth Dragon, dispatched of that giant snake, is small spider going to be much more than just a afternoon snack? Although you can't actually tell what the time of day is here, so and with the labyrinth being such a dense collection of free experience, when she actually manages to get to the outside world, everyone's going to be a little bit in trouble, aren't they? But I also remember a few enemies from the light novel that I really want to see animated. I want to see what they bring to life. Also, with one of the resolutions to the plot points, how are they going to show it in animated fashion without just giving a whole bunch of exposition? Surprisingly, with all what was going on screen, it wasn't that difficult to follow. I'm surprised it did that much damage, to be fair. You're making me use all my power. Can he interrupt his dragon breath casting once he's began? With all of the colours on screen, it's a bit jarring, but overall it's... I think just the saturation is a bit high. If you remember what she was saying in the past episode, it's really not a good idea to go near the walls, ceiling, or floor. Mm-hmm. And have you had time to check if it's gotten any resistance to rot? I want to see the voice recording session where she was just making those squeals. Avoided. The thing is, with all of the small level poison attributes being thrown at him, he's going to pick up some resistances to it. Well, I mean, she has, so... Quick, do some maintenance! It's not really going to just stop a large plasma beam. But are your threads strong enough to actually hold him in place at all? That's imposing. Thank you for your service. Patronage, I guess, if she's making a store clerk speech. And in a moment of lax thinking, he leapt into the trap. I would... Actually, no, I wouldn't like complete pain mitigation, because then you could really easily hurt yourself. And not know that you're doing it. And how are the stats looking? You didn't expect a explosion. Entered into a second form. Yeah. Everything to change the course of battle. But the fact that he's actively chosen those skills means that there's at least some higher thinking going on, but also he sees her as an actual threat. There we go. It's both quite a good compliment and also shit your pants scary. It is interesting how they've decided to show off him being wreathed in flame. Doesn't look it. Is it cheating or is it making use of the systems and mechanics in place? What is she? Ah. Leveling up skills would be quite good, but merging them into a higher powered version at this point. What are these sound effects? Have you got any? Have you got any things up your sleeve again? Much like with the fighting a mirage. Well, stick to your own element. And just hide inside the ball. Yep. It's quite a useful little skill, that one. And if you were in a world like this and actually managed to survive for a fair few years, would you put all your trust in the new things that you're picking up, or the tried and tested methods and skills that you've had for a long time? And despite being a much more serious situation than some of the other ones she's been in, it doesn't actually seem that deadly. Oh no. Why is it that I speak about half a second too soon? Well, you've got 6 more. Goodbye, abdomen. A normal body would be put out of action easily by this. Hey, you don't want to go near them again. Arc-tempered Araba. That was an interesting way of changing her trajectory. Flee, little spider. It definitely seems very one-sided. Yeah, you might want to... I don't know. Would you just continue to bite down and hope that you take them out and eat them before your jaw rots off? She's on her last legs. Both literally and metaphorically. You've come too far to stop now. It's only when you've truly given up is when you've lost. What happened? She is not looking good. But you haven't won either. Have you worked out all of the confusing text and what it all means yet? The HP, MP, and SP. If in a battle of attrition, then she is definitely going to have a slight advantage as long as she stays alive. It can only be regained through resting and eating. I wonder if has that been gone over in the anime? Can't remember. If there wasn't an automatic heal on level up, then there would be no victors in this fight. Is there anyone here who could actually understand what she's saying? I remember this bit, and I still haven't fully grasped what the dragon was thinking. And rather than being pleased with a victory hard fought, the fact that there's no struggle, and he's accepting defeat here. And there's no real way of getting any therapy or help or closure from that. But a monster that didn't fight to the end and knew when things were dire and held a bit of pride. This one will definitely stay with her. Oh. If you needed any more hints thrown at you. I mean, if it's impressive that she has fought an Earth Dragon in current state, what about she fought and defeated a Earth Dragon long before she gained such strength? And she seems to be speaking about it in a rather melancholic remembrance. If it's relatively quick and painless, it's not that bad, but not having anything left behind is a slightly frightening proposition. And seeing the human world and its the palace, the forests, it makes a good contrast to the greys and blacks and rock of the labyrinth. I couldn't actually work out what was being shown there in that little amber orb thing. Yep, the Deguchi. So now that she has reached the exit herself, bursting forth into the outside world, everything's gonna be fine! I like the victory music I hear. I'm pleased for her. And I hope nothing tries to stop her. What could that have been? Now, I would say, I would like to go into detail about things that are different or done in a way that is not how I thought it would be animated from the light novel itself, but I really can't remember the light novel that well. It was a while ago that I read it. And then when I knew that this was getting an anime, I stopped reading. The good thing is, though, the trials and tribulations of our little spider aren't over quite yet. Even if it was just a trip to the outside world, do you really think it would go all that different? Her interactions with humans so far haven't been the greatest. And if you start seeing a giant spider like this with a power level that she does walking about, I don't remember a conversation between the Demon Lord and can't remember his name, about the Earth Dragons and fighting them and how some of them had pride. At least not directly after the main fight. Although it is interesting to see how this is told with the life of the spider. We're seemingly thinking, oh, it's in the present, but it could also quite easily be a reminiscent flashback. I will say that with the evolutions we've seen so far, and being progressively more, well, spiky, with some scythe talons. I'm itching to see when there's a bit more variation. And if you've enjoyed Spider so far, and let's be honest, if you've reached episode 12 and, you probably are enjoying it, even with the slightly campy CGI, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. Life and death situations, spiders, game mechanics. And now that we've breached the surface, seeing the light of the sun, how well do you think it's gonna go? Leave a comment down below, like the video, subscribe if you want to see more. But before we continue our adventure, get some rest. I can see you in the next one. If you want to be part of my story for when I take over the world and fight dragons, although it would be a bit difficult with the dragons part right now. Well, to counteract that, why not head over into my Patreon instead? Because Sal, Raywin, Electric Ant, Dynamite 1997, Shiwan, Jennifer Rojas, Mecha, Stinsfire, Big Boy, Dark Shadow 7899, Mats, and everyone else have so far begun to sew the intricate tapestry of my journey.